You make more money than you did 3 years ago, but somehow you have less in your account. Every raise disappears before you even notice it. Meanwhile, you're working harder than ever. Here's what's actually happening. Your brain has a baseline it's protecting, and every time your income goes up, that baseline shifts with it. There are 3 psychological mechanisms driving this. Once you see them, you'll understand why willpower never worked. Because this isn't about discipline. It's about how your brain calculates what enough means. And right now, it's using the wrong formula. You're sitting at your desk on payday. The deposit hits. That familiar little dopamine spike. You check the balance and think, okay, this month I'm actually going to save something. 3 weeks later, you're back to checking your account nervously before buying groceries. The money's gone. Not to anything catastrophic, just absorbed. A few dinners out, that subscription you forgot about. The slightly nicer version of something you were buying anyway. None of it felt extravagant in the moment. If that just described your last paycheck, hit subscribe because we're about to pull back the curtain on what's actually running this show. Your brain has a thermostat, not for temperature, for lifestyle. Think about your actual thermostat at home. You set it to 72 degrees. The room gets cold, the heat kicks on. The room gets warm, the AC kicks in. It's always pushing back toward that set point. Your brain does the same thing with your standard of living. It has a number, not a conscious number you decided on. A felt sense of what normal is supposed to feel like. When you were making $40,000 a year, that thermostat was set to $40,000. Your brain knew what $40,000 life felt like. The apartment you could afford, the restaurants you went to, how often you said yes to plans. Then you got the raise, $60,000. Suddenly, you're making 50% more. Your conscious mind thinks, great, I'll save the extra $20,000. Your subconscious mind thinks, we're below set point, increase spending. Watch what happens next. You don't sit down and budget your lifestyle up. You don't make a spreadsheet that says, I'm going to spend more now. It just happens. You upgrade your coffee, not consciously. You just stop wincing at the $5 latte. It feels normal now. You deserve it, right? Your old car starts feeling cramped. 6 months ago, it was fine. Now you notice every rattle. Everyone at your level has a nicer car. The payment's only $300 a month. That's nothing with your new salary. Your apartment feels small. Your neighborhood feels off. You start browsing places that are more you. Just $200 more a month. Totally doable. Same pattern. Different mask. None of these decisions feel like lifestyle inflation. Each one feels like finally living at the level you should have been at all along. Your brain isn't splurging. It's correcting what feels like a mistake. Drop a comment if you've ever caught yourself thinking, I can afford this now, about something you didn't even want 6 months ago. This is mechanism 1. The baseline shift. Your brain's set point moves with your income. Not eventually. Immediately. Scientists call this the hedonic treadmill. You adapt to your new normal so fast that you never feel like you're living better. You just feel normal, at a higher cost. A Princeton study tracked people across income levels. They found emotional well-being increased with income up to about $75,000. After that, flat. Not because money doesn't matter, because lifestyle inflation eats every raise before it can change how you feel. You thought making more would feel like relief. Instead, it feels like maintenance, which brings us to mechanism 2, reference point contamination. You don't compare your life to your own past. You compare it to the people around you. Right now, when you made $40,000, your reference group was other people making $40,000. Your coworkers, your friends from college who are at the same career stage, people in your neighborhood. You go out to dinner, you split the check, nobody sweats it. You wear the same tier of clothes, drive the same tier of car. You're calibrated to that group. Then you get promoted. New office, new team, different people, and they have different normal. Your new colleague mentions their weekend in Napa, casually, like it's something people just do. Another person talks about their Peloton. their house in the suburbs, the private school their kids go to. Your brain is a social calculator. It's constantly running equations. Am I keeping up? Am I falling behind? And suddenly, your old normal feels like falling behind. You don't even notice it happening. Your brain just quietly updates what normal looks like. The Peloton isn't a luxury. It's what people at your level have. Same income bump. But now it's getting divided differently because the finish line moved. You're in the meeting with your boss. You got the raise you asked for, 10%. You walk out feeling like you won. That night, you're scrolling Instagram. Someone from high school just posted about buying a house. Another friend is in Tokyo. Your cousin renovated their kitchen. Your brain doesn't think, good for them. Your brain thinks, why don't we have that yet? If that just landed differently than you expected, hit the like button because this is where it gets weird. Here's mechanism 3. The worthiness trap. You've been working hard, really hard. Longer hours than you used to. More responsibility. More stress. Your brain starts building an equation. I work this hard, therefore I deserve X. The problem is, your brain calculates deserve based on effort, not income. And effort keeps increasing. You make more money. You take on more challenging work. Which means you're working harder than when you made less. Which means you feel like you deserve more reward. So you reward yourself the nicer dinner, the better hotel, the upgrade. Not because you're reckless, because your internal logic says, I earned this. And you did earn it. The money is real, but the permission structure is broken because effort and income don't scale linearly in your brain. You always feel like you're working at max capacity, which always feels like it deserves reward, which always eats your margin. Let me show you what I mean. You're making $40,000. You're working 50-hour weeks. You're stressed. You treat yourself to a $20 sushi dinner once a week. It feels proportional to your effort. You get promoted. Now you're making $60,000, but you're working 60-hour weeks. More people depend on you. More decisions keep you up at night. Your brain doesn't think, I'm making 50% more so I can afford 50% more treats. Your brain thinks, I'm working harder than ever. I deserve better than $20 sushi. So now it's $40 omakase, or $50, plus the wine. Your effort to reward ratio stayed the same in your head, but the absolute cost doubled. Same perceived sacrifice, higher price tag. This is why people making $200,000 can feel just as broke as people making $50,000. The effort feels the same. The deserve feeling is the same. Only the numbers changed. Think about this. All three mechanisms are running simultaneously. Your baseline shifted up. Your reference group upgraded. Your worthiness equation recalculated. And none of it felt like a choice. It felt like adjustment, like finally living appropriately. But here's what actually happened. You got a $20,000 raise. The baseline shift absorbed $6,000. Little daily upgrades that are now locked in. The better coffee, the better gym, the better whatever. Reference point contamination took $8,000. The new car payment to match your peers. The apartment in the better neighborhood. The worthiness trap took the last $6,000. The vacations you need now because you work so hard. The treats that match your effort level. The entire raise disappeared. Not to waste, to recalibration. Your lifestyle is now locked in at $60,000, which means if anything happens, a job loss, a medical bill, a car repair, you're in trouble because you don't have margin. You have a higher baseline with zero buffer. Drop a comment if this just explained the last 3 years of your financial life. But here's where this gets useful. This isn't a character flaw. Your brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do. For most of human history, resources were scarce. If you found surplus, you used it. You ate the extra food. You improved your shelter. You increased your status in the tribe. Because tomorrow, the surplus might be gone. There was no bank account, no retirement fund. The only rational move was to consume or invest surplus into immediate survival advantages. Your brain still thinks that's the world you live in. It doesn't understand saving for 30 years from now. It understands upgrade now while you can, which worked perfectly for about 200,000 years. Then we invented modern employment, steady paychecks, predictable income, the ability to store value across time. But your brain's firmware hasn't updated. It's still running the scarcity program. Surplus equals upgrade automatically. So it's not that you're bad with money. It's that you're operating with a 200,000-year-old system in a 70-year-old economic reality. The system isn't broken. It's just matched to the wrong environment, which means you don't need more discipline. You need to work with how your brain actually functions. Start with awareness. Every time you're about to upgrade something, pause. Ask, is this a baseline shift, a reference point move, or a worthiness reward? Just naming it changes it. Your brain loses its invisibility cloak. Then lock in your baseline before your income goes up. This is critical. Before you get the raise, before you take the new job, decide where the extra money goes. Set up the automatic transfer the same day the raise kicks in. Your brain can't inflate what it never sees. If you wait until after, you'll lose. Because your baseline will shift in the first month, and once it shifts, it feels like deprivation to go back. You need to intercept it at the threshold. Next, curate your reference group deliberately. Your brain is going to compare. That's not optional, so give it better comparisons. Follow people who save, who invest, who live below their means by choice. Not as deprivation, but as strategy. Your social environment is programming your baseline whether you notice it or not. You can't opt out of comparison, but you can choose who you're comparing to. Then, reframe worthiness. You do work hard. You do deserve reward. But what if the reward isn't immediate consumption? What if the reward is freedom? Security. The ability to say no. Because that $40,000 investment account is doing something the $50 dinner can't. It's buying future you optionality. The dinner is gone in an hour. The investment compounds for decades. Both are rewards, but only one is still working for you next year. This means catching yourself mid-thought. When your brain says, "I deserve this," agree with it. Then ask, what do I deserve more? This or freedom from financial stress? Not as guilt, as genuine question. Finally, build in guilt-free spending. This isn't about deprivation. Your brain does need reward. It does need to feel like effort has payoff. So budget for it, consciously. Not as the default, but as the plan. Decide what percentage of your income goes to present you. What percentage goes to future you. Then spend the present you money without guilt. Because when you know the important stuff is handled, the latte doesn't carry existential weight. It's just a latte. The trap is letting your baseline expand unconsciously while telling yourself you'll save later. Later never comes. Because your baseline will always rise to meet your income. Unless you interrupt it, on purpose. Fast forward 6 months. Path 1. You keep doing what you're doing. You get another raise. Maybe $5,000 this time. It disappears just like the last one. Your baseline shifts again. Nicer place, nicer car, nicer normal. 2 years from now, you're making $80,000. You're still living paycheck to paycheck, just at a higher altitude. You tell yourself you'll start saving when you hit 6 figures. But when you hit 6 figures, the baseline will shift again, because it always does. 10 years later, you're making $150. You have the car, the house, the vacations, and zero margin. One bad quarter, one medical emergency, one surprise expense, and you're in trouble. Not because you're irresponsible, because you're trapped on a treadmill that speeds up every time you do. Path 2. You intercept it. Same $5,000 raise. But this time, you set up the transfer before the money hits your account. $3,000 goes straight to investment. $2,000 stays in your lifestyle budget. Your baseline still shifts, but only $2,000 worth, not $5,000. You still feel the reward. You still upgrade something, but you've created margin. 2 years later, you're making $80,000. You've been banking the raises. You've got $30,000 invested. It's compounding, working while you sleep. 10 years later, you're making $150, but your lifestyle is locked at $90. The other $60,000 has been growing for a decade. You've got options now, real options. You could take a year off if you wanted. You could switch careers. You could say no to the job you hate, not because you're depriving yourself, because you interrupted the baseline shift. On purpose, repeatedly, same income, completely different trajectory. Here's the truth nobody wants to hear. Your lifestyle will always expand to meet your income. Always. The only question is whether it happens consciously or unconsciously. Unconsciously, it eats everything. Consciously, you can direct it. This isn't about living like you're poor. It's about recognizing that your brain's default setting will leave you stressed at any income level. You don't escape financial stress by making more. You escape it by interrupting the mechanisms that convert every raise into a higher baseline. The broke person making $40,000 and the broke person making $150,000 are running the same firmware. They just have different numbers in the equation. If you want a different result, you need different code. And the code is simple. Decide your baseline before your income arrives. Choose your reference group deliberately. Reframe reward from consumption to freedom. Do that, and money stops being this mysterious force that disappears. It becomes a tool that compounds. Subscribe if you want more psychology that actually explains why you do what you do. Share this with someone who just got a raise. They'll need it.